When people ask me whether they should go for a diesel or gasoline vehicle in 2025, I usually tell them, it depends. That answer may seem vague at first, but in today's complex automotive world, nothing is black and white anymore. We live in a time when fuel types aren't just about performance and fuel economy. They're about regulations, maintenance, longevity, resale value, and even social perception. And in this video, I want to break down, from an experienced driver's point of view, what truly separates diesel from gasoline in today's market. And more importantly, which one is really worth your money in 2025. Let's start with a bit of context. I've owned, maintained, and driven both diesel and gasoline vehicles for over 15 years. Some were daily drivers, others were workhorses, and a few were long-distance tours. This hands-on experience gives me a clear understanding of how each fuel type behaves in the real world, beyond brochures and marketing. So let's dive into the key areas of comparison: efficiency, reliability, maintenance, performance, costs, and future viability. We'll also touch on hybridization, regional factors, and what governments are planning next. Because in 2025, your decision isn't just mechanical, it's political too. Let's begin with fuel efficiency, the one thing almost every buyer still considers first. In pure mileage terms, diesel engines still outperform gasoline in most real-world scenarios. That's especially true for long-distance driving and highway cruising. On average, a diesel car will use 15 to 20% less fuel than a gasoline equivalent. And when fuel prices are high, as they still are in many parts of the world, that difference adds up quickly. But this advantage has narrowed in recent years. Modern gasoline engines have become more efficient thanks to turbocharging and direct injection. Hybrid gasoline cars also blur the line, especially in city driving. In stop-and-go traffic, diesel's efficiency edge disappears, and in some cases, gasoline hybrids are actually cheaper to run. Maintenance and reliability. Now let's talk about reliability and maintenance. This is where opinions often split. Diesel engines are known for their longevity. That's true. If well-maintained, a diesel can easily run 400,000 to 500,000 kilometers or more. They're built to handle higher compression, tougher conditions, and more torque. But the downside is that modern diesel systems are complex. High-pressure fuel pumps, diesel particulate filters, DPF, and emissions control systems like EGR and SCR add a lot of potential failure points. If one of these fails, repairs can be expensive, sometimes prohibitively so. On the other hand, gasoline engines have fewer emissions components and are generally cheaper to fix. They may not last as long under extreme use, but for the average driver, they tend to be simpler to live with. Especially with newer synthetic oils and modern ECU management, gasoline reliability has improved a lot. Performance and driving feel. Diesel engines have always been known for their strong low-end torque. This makes them excellent for towing, climbing hills, or carrying heavy loads. The immediate pull you get in low RPM ranges is something many gasoline engines can't match. That said, gasoline engines tend to be smoother, quieter, and more responsive at higher RPMs. For those who enjoy spirited driving, revving the engine, or quick throttle response, gasoline often feels more refined. But in modern times, turbocharged gasoline engines have narrowed the gap. Some even mimic diesel-like torque curves, making the two feel surprisingly similar in everyday use. Cost of ownership. Let's talk about the bottom line, the total cost of ownership. Up front, diesel cars tend to be more expensive to buy. The engines are more robust, and the emissions systems more complex. But they often hold their value longer, especially in markets where diesel is still in demand. Fuel savings can offset the higher initial cost, but only if you drive enough kilometers. If you're a low-mileage driver, the return on investment is usually better with a gasoline car. Also, keep in mind, some insurance policies and taxes are higher for diesel cars, depending on the country. Maintenance costs are another factor. While diesel engines last longer, when they do need repairs, those repairs can be costly. Gasoline cars might need more frequent servicing, but each visit tends to be cheaper. So in practice, it's a balance, and that balance depends heavily on how and where you drive. The future of diesel and gasoline in 2025 and beyond. In 2025, perhaps the biggest factor influencing your choice isn't under the hood, it's in government policy. Many cities and countries are tightening emissions regulations. Some already ban older diesel vehicles from urban centers. Others are planning to phase out internal combustion engines altogether in the next 10 to 15 years. This creates uncertainty, especially for diesel. In several European markets, for example, diesel sales have dropped dramatically. Manufacturers are focusing more on hybrid and electric models, particularly with gasoline-based platforms. Still, diesel isn't dead. For long-distance drivers, rural areas, and commercial use, it remains incredibly relevant. Modern diesels are cleaner than ever before, and in the right hands, they offer unmatched economy and durability. But for short trips, city traffic, or uncertain regulatory environments, gasoline or hybrid gasoline is the safer bet. So, which one is really worth it in 2025, diesel or gasoline? It depends on your lifestyle. If you drive long distances, prioritize torque and fuel savings, and don't mind a bit more complexity, diesel can still be a great investment. But if you mainly drive in the city, don't cover a lot of kilometers annually, or want lower service costs, gasoline might be the smarter move. Either way, the key is understanding your needs, your budget, and where the road ahead is taking you. Thanks for watching, and drive safe, no matter what fuel you choose.